IPN. We will just wait for 30 seconds for a few more people to get on, and then I'll give you an update of what's happened today, the information that we have, and a little bit more about the various camping sites that we have available. So this morning I'm standing outside gate 4 at the Epic Centre again, where this morning was one of the most disturbing things that I've ever seen with our police. We still have signs on that there are German Shepherds on the inside of the camp. I have been walking around the camp and I haven't seen any German Shepherds, but there's certainly a lot of security left over from the from this morning's events, and I will endeavour to give you an update of what's happened. So let me just turn this around and okay, so this morning we had the police move through the camp and quite disturbingly pushed people out that, in my opinion, was totally unnecessary. There was a problem with the court case being heard this morning to get people allowed onto the property that was made available for us, and the court case was put off until tomorrow. The simplest thing, with no urgency to use the campsite, and the campsite was actually left in almost pristine condition. I rode around last night, and the number of comments on our page about the state of the camp, it just looked like nobody had lived on it, and we'd had over 200,000 people here over the last few days, and it was left spotless. This morning the kitchen was cleaned, the toilets were cleaned, and pretty much the whole camp was it was spotless, and all the bins were emptied this morning. So there was no real need to push the remaining people out. There was a steady flow out this morning. People were packing and moving, and they were just waiting to hear where the next location that they could move to would be. And they were heading off to a place called Kalula Farm, and there was some issue with insurance out there apparently, and that had been a situation that had been addressed on 13 previous occasions through the courts, and they were all found to be in favour of the owner of the farm out there, so they didn't feel that there was any major issue with this one either. But apparently the local court was closed today, so they couldn't have that hearing this morning. And with the way things were, the police had been extremely cooperative through this whole event, and I think there'd only been really one or two incidents where there was a little bit of an issue, but the police backed off and said, it's okay, you guys can deal with it. And to me, the simplest thing this morning would have been the same thing. Look, we know that there's an issue with the camp that you're moving to, so stay here for one more night and move out tomorrow morning. And everybody would have been quite happy with that, and they would have been quite happy to move on. But instead of that, the police brought in their black-shirted riot squad almost. I don't know what their technical term is, whether it was a tactical response team or whatever it was, and they had one straight line of about 30 policemen, and they just moved through the camp pushing. We've heard reports that I haven't been able to confirm yet, but several reports said the same thing of elderly women being pushed and arrested and moved on. And some of the people, if you saw this morning's live, some of the people coming out were basically unable to drive. They were so disturbed and just emotionally distraught by what had taken place that they were shaking in the car, they were in tears in their car. And luckily there's a service station and a McDonald's cafe right outside gate 4, So we were able to take them in there, have a conversation, make sure they got a cold drink, and just had a little bit of time to recover so that they could drive home. And that was not just one person, that was numerous people, mostly single women coming out, or a couple of women coming out. And it was unnecessary and totally disturbing. I think the police have really let themselves down by that display this morning. It was really disappointing from my perspective and many others, that the Canberra police had, or the Australian Federal Police have been so good over the last 2 weeks or so, and then this morning's display was just totally unnecessary. Just about had a car accident down here. So some people have moved, well, everybody's moved out of camp now. Some people have moved onto the sides of a road because they have nowhere else to go. Some people were living in the back of their cars, or in a tent here, but they now only have their cars to stay in. Many people have gone out to, I think it's Cotter Dam or Cotter Creek. I was told not to mention that by the people that are out there because it's actually beautiful out there. I took a drive out there, and there's actually no radio, no reception for phones or anything out there, so you've got peace and quiet, and a river running through which is crystal clear, and rolling hills, and it was extremely pleasant. I don't think the local campers who'd just gone out there to stay for a night or two could believe it, when I don't know how many, there would have been, I guess a couple of hundred people turned up, and it was like, whoa, you know, we were coming out here for a nice quiet camp. But that's one of the only places that they can go to. The police blocked off the road to the campsite, or to the farm that was offered for the convoy people to go to, and they won't open that road until the court case is heard tomorrow. So nobody can get onto that property, which means they've just got to spread out around Canberra tonight. At this stage, the police haven't moved anybody on to my attention. They did have 3 police cars drive through the Cotter campsite when I was out there this afternoon. They just came in, stopped, spun their wheels, turned around, and then spun their tyres to get back out onto the road and moved on somewhere else. So I don't know what their issue was, or why they were in such a hurry to move on. But it was just in, spin their tyres, chuck a Yui, and move on to the next place. So the campers out there were a little bit disturbed by the fact that the police would even be out there, especially after this morning's display. So they're concerned that the police may come out. We haven't heard that that is going to happen. So it's just that the emotional trauma of this morning has affected so many people that every time they see a policeman now, they get really jumpy. So the campsite that they want to move to is closed until at least after the court case tomorrow. People are spread out over Canberra. The people that were really disturbed this morning have sent a message saying that they arrived home safely, so that's good news, and they just wanted to have a cuddle from their husbands and children and just feel safe again. There is another march on Parliament House planned for next Saturday, I believe, but the next major event will be on March the 29th. I believe at this stage it's either the 21st or the 29th, but we'll keep you up to date with that as soon as we have confirmed details of that one. But you could block the date or save the day for the 21st or the 29th of March, which I believe is the first day that Parliament sits. The first day that Parliament sits is the 29th, and I'm not sure if they're going to come back on the 21st, as I said, or the 29th. Most of our people have gone home. All the independent press have gone home. I think there is Cafe Locked Out are out at the campsite at Cotter Creek, so they may have a display broadcast tonight. But the way things were looking at, well, actually they won't, unless they leave that campsite. They can't broadcast because there is no coverage out there. So that was stupid. I know they would like to do something, but I was talking to them out there today, but obviously with no coverage out there, there won't be any broadcasts from out in that area unless they decide to move somewhere else. That's one of the problems with the campsite. I mean, it's beautiful out there, it really is. But there is no coverage for phones, and it's about 20-30 kilometres out of town. So I think the locals actually would enjoy that they're not seeing the protesters or the convoy people in and around town. And I know the convoy people are just taking a day to kind of recoup and recover, and then find out get together and find out what they're going to do over the next few days until Saturday. Most people I know have headed home now. They thought that the weekend was totally successful. The numbers are being downplayed by mainstream. That's a real shock. The police I was talking to here this morning, they would not comment on the actual numbers. All they said was, we've heard varying numbers, and I asked the range, and they said, somewhere from 2,000 to 3,000 up to 5 million. I think 5 million is way overestimated, as is 2,000 to 3,000. There's on the campsite here, we're talking to the security guys that are sitting. You can't see. Let me see if I can get them behind me. These security guys over here, they run security for the Summernat car show as well as this one, and they said the Summernats have up to 100,000, and the numbers that they had on camp here way larger than that 100,000. So we had a couple of drone flyovers, and the estimation of people that were just on the campsite here was about 200,000. So, multiply that by people who came in just for the day over at the Parliament House, and I would guess my estimates very conservatively would be 500,000, but probably more to 1 million people over there. And I think when you start to see the numbers, the people walking over the bridges, you can get some idea of what the crowd was like. We stood at the top of New Parliament House as people were walking up, and for over an hour there was a constant stream of people walking up that roadway onto an already full grassed area between the old and new Parliament House. So, the numbers were significant. What else is there to tell? I think that there's a message coming through. Nope, that's disappeared too quickly. I will say that this service station just across the road over here, their average daily take was $3,000, and over this period that the convoy was in, apparently it jumped up to $14,000 or $15,000 a day. So pretty sure they enjoyed having the convoy people stay at Epic. The people from Epic were more than happy with the behaviour and conduct of the campers in there. As I said, it was left in pristine. I rode around this morning and last night, and I couldn't see any paper or rubbish or bottles left on the ground at all. They were all put in garbages, and as I said, the whole place was given a real clean up this morning. I'm not sure what else there is to report on. So I might leave you. I'm actually heading back up the coast this afternoon towards Sydney, and obviously if we hear anything else we'll keep you all updated. I think the good thing at the moment is we know that everybody's safe. Many people have arrived home and sent us messages that they have arrived home, but the people that are left in Canberra are being well looked after. The kitchen tent has been set up out at Cotter. They do an amazing job. That kitchen crew, the volunteers, the cooks, they've gone from nothing this morning, and by the time I was out there just after lunch, they had barbecues out there, they had shelves out there, they had food stacked on the shelves. Everything had been transferred out there, so the people that are out there, they're in for quite a good meal tonight, and they'll be well looked after. So if you know anybody that's down here, you can be confident that they're looking out for each other, and the food is certainly going to be kept up to them, so they don't have to worry about food. And there's a very good bond of camaraderie out there, with everybody helping each other erect tents and marquees, and helping in the kitchen, and having a nice little cool off in the creek out there. I really didn't want to leave. It's quite a pleasant location, so I might have to put that on my to come back to location. Okay, that was a message for somebody else, I think. I hope on the way home that I don't run into any more crazy Canberra girls and have an accident with a car that like we saw on Saturday. I am flabbergasted by that behaviour. I can't believe the language that was used, and the fact that you can drive your car. I know it was an accident, but the way she just took off and ended up on top of that other car, I thought that was sad for the person who had the car, who owned the car that was driven on top of, but it was quite hilarious. Man, you are one crazy woman. So I hope I haven't heard any other stories of breakdowns or anything like that, so hopefully everybody will get home in one piece and gather back here. Most people are going home to regroup for a few days or a week, and then heading back down to continue their presence in Canberra. So I guess the Canberrans, for as long as these mandates are in place, the Canberrans are going to be upset by the number of protesters or convoy leftovers that are going to remain down here to make their presence known, and they won't be leaving until they get exactly what they want, which is removal of the mandates. And for a lot of them that I've been talking to, the 28 names on that Heffernan document, let's call it a document, of the pedophiles that were in Parliament House, they want those names. They want them made public, and they want them dealt with. A lot of these people had been raped as children, or even as adults, and they are very concerned that they want their children protected. They don't want these issues to carry on. So that's another major thing. Get rid of the mandates. Stop the rollout to the 5 to 19. In fact, stop the rollout. Stop making it compulsory. So those things will allow people to get back to work. A lot of people down here have lost their jobs. They've lost their businesses. I'm one of those people. So I totally understand the frustration that people are feeling down here. They want to get back to work. They want to get back to doing what they love, and for many of them, they want to get back to being able to help other people. So they're very, very passionate about having the mandates removed and be able to see their families again. I know many of them have been months, if not years, not being able to see family members. and they just want to be able to hug family again and just be a part of that family unit. So I'm going to finish off now. If anybody's got any questions, you can run it through and I'll endeavour to get answers for them. But for now, I will be heading up to Sydney and signing off from here. This is John Napper from afipn.com. Look us up. We'll have photos up on my Facebook page, John Napper, over the next few days. As I get a chance to upload them, there are some from previous days, and of course all the stories and articles that have been written about this are also on afipn.com. So we shall see you in a day or two.